Hello, Bobs. We're back with Shakespeare's Sweetheart by Sarah Sterling, a 1905 biography novel. Chapter 3. The Course of True Love. Again, like I said, this book has got really nice engravings, woodcuts, whatever they are. The course of true love, and so good sooth was lifted the heavy pall that had lain over my youth and happiness, and what was seeming dead arose to glorious resurrection. Forevermore, Will had said, come with me from out the shadows in the sunlight forevermore. Ah, thou didst speak truly, thou dear light of my life. Though clouds have often sought to darken the eternal brightness of thy love, behind them still its radiance hath never ceased to shine, will shine forever. For a month after that most joyous May Day, none knew of our love. In this matter Will bowed to my wish. Many saw us together during the afternoon, and marveled thereat. But the excitements of the day were many, and our companionship was speedily forgot. When our maying ended, Will brought me home. He said, as we parted at the gate, tomorrow, sweetheart, tomorrow wilt thou come with me to my parents as my promised bride. Our formal betrothal shall follow as speedily as may be, our marriage when thou wilt. I was silent for a moment. The soft starlit night seemed to whisper calm and confidence, yet my heart was far from quiet. Nay, I said suddenly, wistfully, thou dost not know me, although our faces have been familiar to each other these many years. For a month, let me keep my happy secret. Then, if thou dost desire still to wed me. He flung himself upon his knee before me, and in knightly fashion kissed my hand. As thou wilt, he said, but if me no ifs, thou cruel fair, 1 month then, from tonight, see, sweet Nan, the round moon rises yonder, and by yonder blessed moon I swear, I laid my finger upon his lips. The moon changes, I said, half laughing, half in earnest. She changes monthly, Will. Swear not by the moon, lest, like her, thy love prove variable. Nay, said I. Oh, then name the oath, he begged, still kneeling. Nay, said I, no oath is needed. Swear not at all, or if thou wilt. My voice grew suddenly passionate. Swear by thyself, thy dear and gracious self. Ah, Will, God forgive thee if thou dost play me false. He sprang up instantly in indignant denial, pouring forth vows and fond words. I listened and believed him, as is weak woman's wont. The evening fled on wings. The round moon rose higher and higher in the heavens. When he left me at length, his betrothal kiss was upon my lips, his promise given to keep our love secret for a month, as I desired. Ah, what a month it was that followed! What wanderings had we through the Stratford fields! What new music we found in the song of the birds! What fresh sweetness in the flowers! The voices of the wind and the river, ever eloquent to him, spoke also through him to me. Ofttimes the Avon and I have listened to the stories that the world knows now. The dear stream seemed to sigh with Juliet or laugh with Rosalind. Methought it hushed its babble as the spirit of Prince Hamlet passed, wrapped in ineffable mystery, and sobbed in stormy trouble as poor mad Lear rushed by. We learned to know each other, too. Will heard of my sad childhood, my shadowed girlhood, and swore in tender wrath that never should I know sorrow more. I learned of his far different past, a childhood of plenty, a youth which, although not altogether carefree, was yet blessed with a happy home. His father was one of Stratford's most honored citizens, his mother, a stately dame of ancient family. I have said that his youth was not altogether carefree, nor was it, for he was tormented by increasing poverty as he grew older. His father's affairs became at length hopelessly entangled, and Will was obliged to seek some means of livelihood. Not having been educated with any expectation of such a necessity, he found it hard to choose an occupation. He had tried his hand at many things before I met him. For a while he was lawyer's clerk. Later he left the desk to become apprentice to a butcher who offered higher wages. Yet again he occupied the schoolmaster's chair. When we met, however, he had at length decided on the life work that was destined to bring him both fame and wealth, although as yet he had had no opportunity of adopting it. Other Stratford lads had gone to London and had won success as players. A poet and a player he would be then, and strive thus to restore his family's fortunes. All his dreams, all his plans, he confided to me as we wandered through the fields or sat in my grandam's little garden. The great of history and legend bore us company too, and whispered of a time to come when they would live for all the world. Meanwhile, the mystery of Will's love was mine, and we were happy in each other. At last the month ended. Strangely, safely, our secret had been kept. None knew, or so we thought, why Will came so frequently to Shottery. None dreamed that he had any attraction there save the spring beauty of the fields and woods he was known to love well. Come what might, that month was ours forever. The round moon was rising again as it had risen that night of our Maying. I stood at the gate as I had stood then, watching for Will's arrival. As I waited there, my grandam came out and joined me. Now, during the month just completed, I had frequently noticed that my grandam never let me far from her sight. She must have conjectured, of course, the state of affairs between Will and me, although I had not actually told her of our happiness. So unobtrusive had been her constant presence that Will had marked it not at all. When I saw her lingering about us, I thought that her life, which had held so little joy and peace, was brightened by the sight of our love and happiness. The sequel proved me wrong. I was surprised when she joined me at the gate, for though never far apart in the cottage, we seldom sought each other's company. I was still more surprised when she spoke first, for she was a woman of few words. It is a clear and beauteous night, she observed, calmly glancing up at the moon, but the summer is still young, and it is damp here at the gate. Dost wait for Shakespeare, Nan? She asked the question in the same tone in which she had commented upon the beauty of the night. I flushed a little at her matter-of-fact manner. Grandam, I said dutifully. He hath never yet failed thee, she went on, looking at me strangely. And yet he is late tonight, Anne. Very late. He will come, I said, proudly, and turned away from her. She paused a moment, and the searching gaze she fixed upon me brought back my eyes unwillingly to her face. Hath he? She hesitated a little, and now her voice was full of suppressed feeling. Hath he ever said aught to thee of marriage? I looked her proudly in the eyes, and I felt my face aflame. I said hotly, from the first. A month ago he would have betrothed me, but I besought him to wait. My grandam's bosom rose and fell with a quick breath of relief, but when she spoke, her voice was cold again. Thou fool, she said calmly. Thou didst beseech him to wait, thou fool. She paused an instant. I opened my lips to reply, but my indignation choked me. Before I found words, she continued, Thou art a fool, but why do I blame thee? Thou scarce canst help it. Thy mother was the like. I did not know her folly until too late. Her voice broke a little, but hardened again as she resumed. I do know thine. I trust to heaven in time. I hope wisdom will not reach thee when it will avail thee not. And with that she turned and went into the cottage. As the door closed upon her, I felt two hands clasped around my eyes. Thou must guess, said a voice I knew well, rich with laughter. The penalty's a kiss if thou dost not know. Guess who blinds thee? I named his name in tones that quivered a little. He heard my tremulous answer. He felt the tears in my eyes, and his voice changed instantly. What ails thee, sweeting? Why dost weep? Share thy sorrow with me. But this I could not do, although he begged me sorely. My grandam's words had been harsh, but they were kindly meant, and she had deemed them deserved. I could not repeat them to Will, for they would show lack of trust in him. Besides, my sorrow was ended now he had come. I told him so, smiling my tears away. He shook his head when I evaded an answer to his entreating, but yielded to my desire. I have a story to tell thee, he said gravely. Before I begin, let me ask thee to believe that I would not beg of thee the boon that I shall crave. Seemed it not best for thee? Thou knowest Sir Thomas Lucy? I looked at him askance at this abrupt changing of the subject, and I nodded. Everyone knows Sir Thomas, I said. Had he been given his way, the maypole would have been cut down, and the players would not be coming to Stratford next week. He is a Puritan of the Puritans, Will. Why dost thou speak of him now? For many reasons, sweetheart, Will answered, but chiefly because the tale is long. Wilt go within? Nay, I said hurriedly, bitterly. Nay, I will not within. Speak on. He glanced at me as if puzzled by my tone, but said nothing about it then. In a rapid, low voice he told the story, interrupting himself now and again to laugh at some reminiscence of the past or at some plan for the future. Sir Thomas Lucy, the pompous, puritanical owner of Charlecote, had strictly forbidden the stealing of deer from his park. This I knew, and also that the law, although just, was scarce generous, for it had been a tradition in his family to allow a certain number of deer each 12-month for the use of the people of the surrounding country. This unwritten compact with the commoners Sir Thomas had set aside, thereby arousing wonder and later wrath among them. At first the country folk had been unable to believe Sir Thomas in earnest, and deer continued to disappear now and then from the park. Finally, however, the wrath of the knight had blazed high at the continued disregard of his decree. 1 or 2 Stratford lads had been arrested several days before on the charge of deer stealing. Therefore, tomorrow night, all loyal Stratford youths, At this point, in the interest of his narrative, Will's voice unconsciously rose. So absorbed was I in what he was saying that I scarce noted the fact, but afterwards I realized that it had been so. Had I looked back then, I imagine I should have seen my grandam somewhere near, but I did not look, and Will thought not of any auditor save myself. Therefore, Nan, he said, the brave lads of Stratford have planned a vengeance to rebuke the churlish knight. Tomorrow evening we meet at Charlecote, and go a-hunting, sweetheart, but not for deer alone. And when we have found our game, we will sing for Sir Thomas that little song of mine. What shall he have that killed the deer? He caroled the line lustily, then broke into a laugh. Sir Thomas will long remember that hunting, methinks. He paused a moment, then looked at me anxiously. The moon hath gone behind a cloud, sweet Nan, and the light is dim, yet soothly I can read disapproval in thy face. 'Tis a rough joke enough, but truly the knight deserves that it be played upon him. Natheless, I should not have told thee of it, not troubled thee with the story, except— He paused again, then came closer to me and put his arm around me. Sweetheart, he said, beyond Charlecote there is a priest, and we can find 2 witnesses among the Stratford lads. Today the month ends, dear Nan. Tomorrow wilt be mine forever? I clung to him in silence, and for an instant could not speak. He went on rapidly, gently. Sooth, I were proud to wed thee, dear, before all the world. But who knows what may befall? Besides, daily my family's affairs grow more straitened. If the players come next week, I may perchance go with them back to London. Such an opportunity might not occur again. Before I go, I would have thee safely mine, dear heart, and a wedding after the usual fashion would take long to arrange. He paused again. Still I could not speak. Nan, he went on passionately, God wot, I grieve sore to ask this of thee, yet I see no other way. For this once trust me, sweetheart, and listen to my plan. The sport will be rough and fast tomorrow. Night at Charlecote. While it is at its height, we can slip away, find the priest, and— But, I faltered forth at length, but how can I go with thee? I will bring horses hither, Will answered, without an instant's hesitation. He had evidently thought out the plan most carefully. A long cloak shall disguise thee effectually enough, for thou wilt not be long among the rest. Then, after we are wedded, I will bring thee home at once. My grandam, I whispered. Will looked at me in surprise. Thy grandam, he repeated. Thou wilt tell her, of course. She surely hath guessed what lies between us. Tell her by all means. Tomorrow night at this hour will I come for thee, bringing the cloak and the horses. What sayest, Nan? Wilt be ready, sweet? I felt his firm, tender hand on mine. Ah, how could I hesitate an instant? I raised my face to his and spoke, forgetting all else. I shall be ready, and whither thou wilt, I shall go, my beloved. I heard him give a quick breath of relief. It is well, he said, and kissed me. I will not fail thee, sweetheart, and may God speed our plan. Right, bruv, right. And with that ends chapter 3. A little side note. I've read somewhere, I can't remember whose book it was in, maybe John McWhorter's. Probably not, but that the Shakespearean accent would have resembled more the southern U.S. drawl than what you hear from modern English speakers, as in England English speakers. Or at least that's what I've read. Could be false, could be true. I don't know. All right, bruv. Goodbye. Goodbye.